I'm going to go for the food.
I'm going to call you finish and
your menu.
I got good news for you. Do you know that Myean in the United States of America she'll be having her hard table Doma Festival in Maryland and USA? And she said everybody that going to that Doma Festival there, they must carry small money for school for children. Like bobe, shoes, children clothes, life jacket, and all those kind of things. They must carry there, and she will bring it in Liberia so she can share it with the children in Grand Basso, Little Basso.
School then you put life jacket to it.
The reason why they put in life jacket inside, she will be bringing life jacket to share because the children in Little Basso, when they go to school, they gotta get on kino to cross the water. You know, that's what she want to get in so they can be safe.
I know that I want the children, what that when the children they get crossing the kino to go where the bikino to go.
And the time will be August 9 in the United States of America. So it will not be easy. And at the 5th year celebration, she been having celebration, but they want it will be special. So everybody are going there, we carry something. Yeah.
That my brother want to tell you, I can be praying for him inside the chair there.
I know, but no, no.
So that the cheese I can kill. I go real.
I don't thank you very much.
Okay.
People now,
so my people that are there, your year eight, people that are going for the Doma Festival in Maryland, in America, you please carry something for the children of Little Basso. It's not easy.
Yeah. Thank you, Myean, for my children in Little Basso, yeah.
I'm going to go for the food.
I'm going to call you finish and
your menu. I got good news for you. Do you know that Myean in the United States of America she'll be having her hard table Doma Festival in Maryland and USA? And she said everybody that going to that Doma Festival there, they must carry small money for school for children. Like bobe, shoes, children clothes, life jacket, and all those kind of things. They must carry there, and she will bring it in Liberia so she can share it with the children in Grand Basso, Little Basso.
School then you put life jacket to it.
The reason why they put in life jacket inside, she will be bringing life jacket to share because the children in Little Basso, when they go to school, they gotta get on kino to cross the water. You know, that's what she want to get in so they can be safe.
I know that I want the children, what that when the children they get crossing the kino to go where the bikino to go.
And the time will be August 9 in the United States of America. So it will not be easy. And at the 5th year celebration, she been having celebration, but they want it will be special. So everybody are going there, we carry something. Yeah.
That my brother want to tell you, I can be praying for him inside the chair there.
I know, but no, no.
So that the cheese I can kill. I go real.
I don't thank you very much.
Okay.
People now,
so my people that are there, your year eight, people that are going for the Doma Festival in Maryland, in America, you please carry something for the children of Little Basso. It's not easy.
Yeah. Thank you, Myean, for my children in Little Basso, yeah.
I'm going to go for the food.
I'm going to call you finish and
your menu. I got good news for you. Do you know that Myean in the United States of America she'll be having her hard table Doma Festival in Maryland and USA? And she said everybody that going to that Doma Festival there, they must carry small money for school for children. Like bobe, shoes, children clothes, life jacket, and all those kind of things. They must carry there, and she will bring it in Liberia so she can share it with the children in Grand Basso, Little Basso.
School then you put life jacket to it.
The reason why they put in life jacket inside, she will be bringing life jacket to share because the children in little basso. When they go to school, they gotta get on kino to cross the water. That's what she want to get so they can be safe.
I know that when the children, when the children they get crossing the kino to go where the big kino to go to school.
And the time will be August 9 in the United States of America. So it will not be easy. And at the 5th year celebration, she been having celebration, but they want it will be special. So everybody going there, we carry something. Yeah.
That my brother want to tell you, I can be praying for him inside the chair there.
I know, but I know now.
So that the cheese I can get you. I go real.
I don't thank you very much.
Okay.
People now.
So my people that are there, your year people that are going for the Drummer Festival in Maryland, in America, you please carry something for the children of Little Bassa. It's not easy.
Yeah. Thank you, Myean, for my children in Little Bassa, yeah.
John? Yes, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome again to the closing argument. Today is June 20th, 2025. We are happy to be back for another edition of the closing argument, a special edition. We have as our guest tonight the president, the acting president and CEO of the National Oil Company of Liberia, NOCAL, Mr. Fabian Michael Lai. He'll be our guest tonight. We're discussing NOCAL, everything NOCAL. So please stay tight and let's come and ask all the questions concerning NOCAL and let's know more about NOCAL tonight. I have here Chairman Ben Sanvee is also here with me. He will be here with me too. Chairman Sanvee is here tonight too. We'll be doing it together jointly. So please stay tight and let us enjoy this show tonight. Myean, what's up? What's happening? What's the latest on the ground?
I'm doing good, Chief. And how's your end? How was the trip?
The trip is, we're still on the trip. The trip is still fine. We just got through everything. Chairman Sanvee is here. Costa just left. But we are here and we trying to make sure that everything is in place. We look forward to a great show tonight with the acting president and CEO of NOCAL, Mr. Fabian Michael Lai. So as soon as Mr. Lai gets on set, we'll be bringing him in to start his program. We are a little bit behind, but we'll make it. So,
so you coming here?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the guests. Okay, I see Mr. Lai. I just entered. Let me bring him on. Welcome to the closing argument, Mr. Fabian Michael Lai, the acting president and CEO of the National Oil Company of Liberia, NOCAL. I'm joined here with Chairman Ben Sanvee. He's here with me. We'll be talking about NOCAL. Mr. Lai, welcome to the closing argument, and how's everything at your end?
Thank you so much, Chief. I'm quite okay. The weather is a bit cool today. It was just rainy, but Monrovia is good, and I'm excited to be joining you and the chairman today. I have the chief and the chairman. Yes, sir.
Fabian, you owe me. You owe me. Tell you the president of NOCAL every year. So
it's good. It's good to owe. That way you keep praying for me.
Good to see you, my brother. Congratulations, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On your
Thank you so much.
And we are extremely proud of you and what you have accomplished. And we know there's a lot more in the pipeline. So
certainly. Thank you.
So NOCAL is the name NOCAL. Everybody talking about NOCAL. Want to just tell us about NOCAL? What is the state of NOCAL at this moment? I know you just got appointed by the president. But tell us what's the state of NOCAL at this moment? Where are we with NOCAL right now?
I think we're still trying to, not just the public, but just employees at NOCAL. We're still trying to settle into our new role. Since 2014, when the petroleum law was passed, it separated the commercial function from the regulatory function, creating the Liberia Petroleum Regulatory Authority. So we're still trying to get ourselves into motion, into the proper commercial function, and build an integrated national oil company for Liberia. So it's a good time, and I think it's a good time, particularly the fact that I worked for the Petroleum Commission for 4 years, and in the past I also worked for NOCAL. So I have a feel of both the regulatory function and the commercial function. So I think it's a good time, to have come back to the company and try to help, build the company into a proper integrated oil and gas company. So we're just getting started. There are a lot of things we can do. There are a lot of potential, as a company we have, but we need to put in the work, and that's what we're trying to do.
NOCAL has played a significant role in Liberia energy sector. But and I know you just got appointed to this position. But can you tell me some of your major milestones since you took over the helm of NOCAL?
So the first thing we had to do was to stabilize the company, and create a feel-good, factor for the employees and the general public. There were a lot of bad, press on NOCAL. Everywhere you talk about NOCAL, it was just about corruption and mismanagement and misuse of public resources. So we had to rebrand. We had to be able to create, a feel-good factor for the employees. And over the last month or two, that's what we've been trying to do. So we've been able to stabilize the company. We've been able to relaunch our scholarship program, which is a big part of what NOCAL, is known for. For the first time in 25 years, we've been able to launch a strategic plan for the company, because that was one of the things I was very key about. Instead of just reacting, and taking on projects that are ad hoc, we wanted to design a plan within the next 5 to 7 years on the key things we wanted to do and we wanted to achieve within the next 5 years. And we've done that. We've launched our strategic plan, this very ambitious plan on key things we want to achieve within the next 5 years. And as we go through the discussion tonight, we'll discuss some of the key components of that strategic plan.
Thank you. And Tommy will be back. I think he's going for a charger. But listen, like I said, I think you rightly put it when you talk about, the name NOCAL, right? A lot of people don't know that the NOCAL of today is not the NOCAL of yesterday. There's been some changes when it comes to NOCAL. I think people only remember the NOCAL that Robert Sirleaf was chairman of the board, and and the Chevron was in Liberia, and all these companies was in Liberia. I want you to, for the benefit of the doubt of the listeners, right? I want you to talk specifically about what is the National Oil Company of Liberia today, because I know there is the regulatory, from what I understand, there is the regulatory component now, right? That is a separate entity from NOCAL. I want you to distinguish between the two of them, just for the audience, so that we get a sense of where things are, and then we can go into your plans and then ask you some questions, because I have some concerns and some questions regarding where you guys are, the future, and how inclusive. I'll just say it off the bat. I am very concerned, and I'm more concerned about local content and what can be done to be able to leapfrog us, right? Because I'm tired of us, talking about Nigerian, Ghanaians, who are, what's going to happen for us. But I also want, but before you get into that, let's talk about the two. What is NOCAL? What is the role of NOCAL today? What is NOCAL today?
So to be less technical, NOCAL is an oil and gas company.
Okay.
So when we say integrated, that means we can do exploration. That means we can do upstream. That means we can do exploration. We can, if there's a discovery, we can, develop the well, we can produce it. So in that light, we're like Exxon and Chevron and the rest of the oil companies. We can also do midstream. That means we can get involved in petroleum transportation, We can get involved in piping, transportation for petroleum resources, storage facility, and then we can also do downstream, meaning we can open a gas station. We
So you can sell
retail
gas. So
Of
you can
course.
sell gas. In
We
Liberian
can
English,
sell
you can sell
gas.
gas. Okay.
Yes, we bring
Okay.
we can sell gas.
Yeah.
We can import gas. We can sell gas. So we're integrated company. That's how the law has positioned us.
Okay.
On the other hand, LPRA is the license provider. They regulate this. They regulate the sector. So our job is to promote the sector. Marketing and promotion is also a key part of what we do. So our job is to come to you, chairman, and say, if you're an oil company, and say to you, look, Liberia is attractive. We have good geology. Our basin has high potential. We think you should come and invest. So when you make a decision to come to Liberia to invest in oil and gas, then we take it to the regulator. Their job is to provide you the petroleum license in the form of a petroleum sharing agreement.
Okay.
So then LPRA negotiates that contract with the oil company. It's rectified by the legislature, and then you have a company with a petroleum sharing contract.
Good. Let's welcome Sylvester Pewee. Pewee, it's good to see you. Pewee is going to join the conversation. I think somebody else is going to be joining also. Oh, Sidiki, Truth in Ink is going to be also joining the conversation. So I'll turn the table over to Tomalin George, and he can then begin there.
Oh, okay, guys, welcome again. Sidiki, you in it? You I guess you in the Dago.
Yeah, Sidiki, you probably want to change it up. We can see your. So let's go to Pewee. Let Pewee do his intro, and then we can go to Sidiki.
Yeah, thank you. Let me say a very wonderful good evening to everybody, and to our own dear brother Fabian. Thank you for coming on the show. I know, and so then you sounding like a technical person. Yesterday, when some of us got to know you, you're the I want to put it the other side of the professional. But again, I'm very happy I was glad when I heard that you were Noka family, and basically now heading and trying to structure the institution into a very better future we look forward to. So it was going to be a good time to interact with today, and I'm one person that do believe in your ability to transform that institution, even though you serve in the acting capacity. But I'm very, very much pleased that the president reposed that confidence in you, and you will move to ensure that there's some level of accountability, transparency, and the hallmark of the institution moving forward. It's good to interact with you. We look forward to having more discussion.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Sidiki, you want to come in? You muted, Sidiki.
Well, yeah, man, it's always a good time to be on the show. The guests, of course, are respectable individuals, so looking forward to his presentations, and then thereafter there will be questions. Ben Sanvee, listen to some of I listened to you today. Great conversation. Tomalin, I hope along the way we can dissect some of the things that were said. But we look forward to a great show this evening.
Thank you. And I will run away by the time you get ready to dissect. But let me Fabian, I want to go straight to this, right? Let me just go straight to it, and then from there we'll let the rest of the guys ask the questions. I think I said to you earlier, I'm more concerned about local content. Yeah. It is well documented that our hydrocarbon oil and gas sector, quote unquote, and I stand to be corrected. Correct me. You are more of an expert in the field. What is in it for local content, right? The president recently did something from I think an executive action, giving executive. What was it?
Executive allocation.
Executive allocation. Thank you very much. I want you to explain that, right? Because I have some questions about it. So before I ask my questions, I want you to kind of give us kind of like an overview of simply what did the president do recently? Because he said they said the president gave Nukal oil blocks, right?
4 blocks.
What does that mean for Liberians, right? Are we going to see the next Liberian millionaire out of our oil and gas sector, or are we looking at another foreigner coming to take our oil block and flip it? I'm just shooting it straight to you because that's the talk on the street, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons you're on the show today, to kind of explain to us and to allay our concerns and to answer to address the concerns that we have. So I want you to go into what did the president recently do?
Okay, so I will try to be as simple and as practical as I can be, so that a lot of people can understand what it is. So currently, we have 2 basins. We have the Liberia Basin, and then we have the Harper Basin. So the Liberia Basin runs from Cape Mount up to Sino. And basin means it has the same structure, geological structure. You know, just like we have female and male, so we're not the same. They're different from us. So when you look at between Cape Mount and Sino, the geological structure of the ocean floor is a bit different than between Sino and Harper, Maryland. So our ocean is divided into those 2 basins, and we have 33 oil blocks. It's actually called acreage, but we just say oil block, so people understand what it is. So currently, the way it is, there's 3 ways in which the petroleum law provides that petroleum licenses are given to company. One is through competitive bidding. I'm sorry. And we all know what competitive bidding is, how procurement processes, are run. That means the blocks are put up and companies come and competitively bid for it. And then the second form is called direct negotiation. This is where a company expresses an interest in a particular block and they negotiate directly with the government for that block. And then the final way is what the president, has recently exercised, which is executive allocation. This is where the president grants interest in the block. We say equity in the block to Nukal. So in the past, we've complained that all these, oil blocks are given to foreign companies. They come, and the country does not have sufficient stake within these, blocks. So this is a way of the government saying this is a time to empower the national oil company to create capacity and to set high ambition for the company by giving them an oil block to manage. So the good thing this does for the country is that it gives the country higher stake within an oil block. Unlike a situation where if you take on the direct negotiation process, you take block 1, for example, just for illustration, and you give it to company A. Company A owns all the equity within that block. The state only has the mandatory 5 and 10% citizen participation. But in this case, the president has given Nukal 100% equity within the block. So it's a big ambition he set, for the national oil company, and there are several things we can do. If we don't have the funding to be able to manage this block, we can raise capital on the capital market, right? If we don't have technical capacity, we can also hire technical capacity if we can pay for it, to be able to manage this block where the country or the government owns 100% equity. So, in simple terms, if we have a discovery in that particular well, the country owns 100%. There's no sharing revenue or whatever inflow that comes from that discovery. All the national oil company will have to do is perhaps maybe pay back the loan as it has acquired to be able to explore and develop this well, or to be able to pay the technical capacity that it has hired from outside or from whatever place within the region. And the fact that countries like Nigeria and Angola has been in oil and gas for 30, 40 years, it's easier to acquire technical capacity to assist the national oil company, manage these blocks and try to find oil.
So, Fabian, let me before we bring in Sarah, and then I will rest here, because like I said, that's for me, that's the sticky issue. How does so let me just ask you this, and I understand the explanation that you just gave. How can Liberians, right? Local has 100% ownership per the executive allocation.
Yeah.
How does Liberians benefit? How can I benefit from this? Say
as an individual or
as an individual, or if I decide, let's say me and Tomalin, Peabody, all of us on the show say, you know what, we're forming our oil company, right? Is there any way? I'm trying to break it down simply.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can benefit from this? Do we engage local? How does it work in benefit of Liberians?
So the new law, the 2019 amendment to the law, provides that every petroleum agreement will have 5% Liberian equity for Liberian-owned companies. So if you and Tomalin has a company and you're interested in oil and gas, you have 5% you can take up in any petroleum agreement. But the challenge is how many Liberian companies are willing to put up 5% equity within an oil program. So if you, for example, have an ultra deep oil program that costs $200 million, 5% of that is what? 10 million?
10 million, yeah.
How many Liberian companies are willing to put 10 million into the hole with no guarantee of a return on investment? Because that's what the oil industry is. If it's not the highest risk sector in the world, I don't know what sector, has the highest risk than oil and gas. Because there's no guarantee that the $10 million you're going to put into this program, there's no guarantee that there'll be a discovery. There's high potential. There's a likelihood that when there's a discovery, you will more than quadruple this amount. But there's no guarantee that there'll be a return on your investment. Unlike other sectors, for example, if you put $10 million in a hotel, you see the hotel going up every day. So this is my money. So the way we're structuring the program is not for Liberians to be able to invest physical cash, which most Liberian companies might not have. It's to see what service Liberian companies can provide.
Okay.
So currently we're trying to do a show base in Buchanan. So a show base, to explain simple terms, we all know what a military base is. So if there's a war, the military come and establish a base, where they supply food and ammunition and the rest to the front line, right? So the show base, the logistics show base for offshore activity is where it's a base that provides services to the activities offshore. A lot of the drilling is offshore, deep water. You're talking about 30, 40 kilometers, within the ocean. So you need to be able to move crew from the drilling rig or the platform to the shore. So you need helicopter services. Okay. So you can, Liberian companies can, come together, create a business and can provide that service. It's also expensive. You need a helicopter. We know what the cost of helicopters are. But again, it's easier for Liberians to raise money and invest in those kind of services where they have the helicopter, they can sell it when they don't want to do business anymore. And then they can provide transport services to crew exchange on the rig. There's also accommodation services. Hotel is a big thing in this country, so it's easier for Liberians to be able to manage that, because when crew are being exchanged from the rig, they need to sleep somewhere. So when they come from offshore, the hotel is not actually a hotel, it's just an accommodation for them. So Liberians can also, provide those services. And then there's also the need for fresh water. These rigs, there's a need for fresh water. So you can also have Liberian companies providing fresh water, to the drilling rigs offshore during the period of drilling. And then these drilling rigs also consumes a lot of fuel. Sometimes 12,000 gallons a day in PMS. So again, that's something easy for Liberian companies here. There are a lot of Liberian oil and gas companies, that can provide fuel to the rig. So again, those companies can provide fuel to the rig. Then there's a waste disposer. You know, when you're drilling on a rig, thousands of feet underground, there's a lot of waste coming from underground that has to be disposed of properly. You cannot dispose of it into the ocean. There are a lot of environmental issues. So again, you have companies, you know, waste disposal companies that can provide those services and can provide those services to the rigs. And I will tell you, these are not cheap services. These are, and you know, just to put some numbers to it, just a lay down yard, you know, where you will have companies, you know, keeping their pipes just to move the pipe from overseas, store the pipe, you know, in a lay down yard, and move the pipe offshore, can cost almost $1 million every quarter. So you're talking about $4 million a year, you know, just for a company. So if you have a Liberian company that has an open warehouse, you know, where they're providing lay down yard services to these oil companies, you know, that's a lot of good business. So there's several kinds of services the Liberian companies can provide to these offshore drilling activities that will benefit the Liberian company and benefit the country as a whole.
Thank you. We'll give Sarah the chance to do her opening, and then we'll go to Pewee to ask his question, and then Siddiqui, and then Sarah, and then Tomalin can take it from there. Sarah, you want to do your opening?
Thank you, Ben. Thank you to our guest, Mr. Lahai, right?
Lie.
Lai. Okay.
Lie.
Mr. Lai,
Yeah.
I want to say thank you so much for coming on, you know, and enlightening us on, you know, Carl and some of the things you guys are doing. I have a lot of questions, but I will hold on yet until my time comes. But I just want to say thank you, and I also say thank you to the audience and our panelists on here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for me.
Pewee, you want to go?
Yes, let me go. Mr. Light, that mean you said you wanted to be very simple, and I like how you already explained it for our people, and we that are not that technical also in the field. But someone is asking me also, yeah, and telling me to convey this sentiment to you. To say this concern they saw the black 13, this black at 22 or 2013, all this time, all those things that unfolded. We want to know if a company were to come back to the country, those powerful companies and the rest of that, what are our chances of seeing oil in Liberia, and that would be determined at a commercial quantity to say, hey, bingo for the country. That's the particular question. So he's really want to know this, and he wanted to ask you in a way that the ordinary Liberian people we understand. And if there's we do have the chance of finding oil in commercial quantity, what would that do for the country?
So let's get to what oil is. How does oil form? You know, then we can. Oil comes from decades of plant and animal. So when you know where we have, if you have vegetation and then you have animal, and then they die and then they decay, millions and millions of years of decay. That's how oil sediments are formed. So that's why on a lot of oil discoveries nowadays off the ocean floor, because all the vegetation within the ocean and animal is easier to go down, you know, subsurface, die, you know, and millions of years decayed, and then you have oil. So with that, my first answer would be, and this is my, you know, personal opinion, and just using science and adding, you know, just my thought. I think there's oil everywhere, you know, because everywhere has living thing. That means there's hard living thing. There's oil. You know, the question is how much of this oil is there, like you're saying, commercial quantity. So there's a lot of potential. Our geology is good. We have a petroleum system. We are somewhere we are along something they call the West African transfer margin. I don't know go to that's a bit technical, but to simplify, I would say what the continent is where it was, where the earth would be, the earth broke apart. So people in our sector believe when the earth broke apart, countries that were together before, they have similar geology, have high potential discovery. So you take Namibia, for example, before the continent, I believe that Namibia was along with Brazil. So because of that, they have the same geology. That means they have the same subsurface. They have the same. Brazil has always been a big oil producing country, and now Namibia within the last 5 years had 10 discoveries. When you look at Guyana, Suriname and Guyana,
Breaking.
before continental shift, Guyana and Liberia were together. They were the same.
You're breaking up.
You're breaking.
We have the same. We have the
Fabian,
sandstone.
Fabian, if you can hear me, can you try to readjust the gadget you are using, or we can just leave and come back quickly? You come in completely disturbed. We're not getting you at all.
Yeah. Salphonic, you sleepy? I can't hear you. You're muted.
The man he resting.
It's called sleepy eyes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And I we are sleeping.
You up when you stay up on that reading. When you stay up on that reading, truthing in, during the day, then you feel a little
The ink is getting dry.
dry. People will buy me pen. And what isn't breaking bowel? Wow. Yeah. But what Ben Sanvee?
Let me run.
I got a question for him.
Man, we got a guest back.
And a guest in come and put him in.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe it's the internet or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where's Brother Costa?
Where?
Amen.
I think what you guys think? I think what they're doing is not bad. Yeah. But the only problem I have, did the legislature approve what they did? Or because I heard that the legislature had problem with that. I mean, I think you know about it, so you can speak to that.
What made you think I know about it?
Is it better now?
What?
Yeah.
Better. Way better.
Okay. So I was
better
explaining this. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it is
I think
better.
yeah. So I was just talking about how we believe prior to the continental shift, Liberia and Guyana was together. And now Guyana, we all know what Guyana is. Guyana has one of the largest discoveries in the world, 11 billion barrels of oil. So those are events that are creating excitement. And then when you look next door to Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, between 2020 and 2022, they've had two big discoveries, 5 billion barrels of oil and gas. And Harper is just next door to San Pedro where those discoveries, have taken place. And not forgetting what has happened in Ghana, in the last 10 years, with the Jubilee well. Nigeria has been a big oil producing country, for years. So we're sitting under the basin, and we have high hopes that we will have that discovery. And the way oil, science is, it doesn't mean when you drill 10 wells and they're all dry, that means you don't have it. Country like Greenland were drilling for almost 30 years, before they had the first discovery. Cote d'Ivoire have had a drilling history for almost 30, 40 years before they just, recently had some big discoveries. So we have high hopes. We've been only able to drill 17 wells, so that's nothing. Let's drill more wells. Let's see what comes out of it. So we're hoping within the next 5 years, if we can do at least 10 wells, who knows? We might hit the jackpot. And you know, this country, we've had gold, we've had diamond, we've had iron ore, we have everything. It's done nothing for this country. So we think oil would be the game changer, and we think a lot of focus should be, you know, placed on drilling and exploring for a lot of drilling a lot of wells, you know, to be able to find that get to that first oil.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I think my 11 years old daughter will be happy to hear that. But my last question for this phase, Mr. Lai, you know, I know you to be a very professional auditor, and you come with a lot of extraordinary competence and the rest of that. But I want to take you back to this issue about the data seal, but beyond the data seal, you coming up with a new headquarters. A lot of Liberians are concerned because the government does not have too much of money to pump money into NOCA. First and foremost, wanted to find out from you, how are you raising resources to build your new headquarters? One, I'm looking at the face of accountability. And the last portion of it, I just want to know because your immediate past president was suspended by the president of the Republic of Liberia. I want to know and before she was suspended, one of the rumors we heard was that there was this disillusionment within the camp of her deputies. I just want to know the working relationship with you, Fabian, and the rest of your past president and that of the board head and the board members.
So I would say I've not had, you know, as good a relationship, you know, with a lot of people working in the past than I have now. The relationship between the vice president and myself, you know, it's quite brilliant because we all came from that phase. You know, I was a vice president for operations, you know, for a couple of months before I transitioned into the role. And a lot of the guys and we've worked together in the past. The vice president for finance and I worked at the GSC for a couple of years before I left. So I've known him for several years.
That's Emmanuel Tanwe Zango.
Emmanuel Zango. Bwaka Jaliba, on grad, used to be my student council president. So I work with him for, so we've been around. So we've been around, you know, in and around, you know, public and private sector for a couple of years. So these are all people that I know. And my approach to management is quite, you know, participatory. So a lot of them have felt, you know, that the member of the team will have different skill set. We all contribute in different ways. So I've not tried to exercise, you know, the normal presidential mandate that comes with the role. I've tried to incorporate everyone in the role. I've tried to make sure that we're all learning and tapping on each other. So I think it's been great. And then fortunate for me, when I came in, you know, then I had a new board chair also that came in. She's, you know, I don't know how to describe, you know, Justice Scott. You know, former Chief Justice, Minister of Justice. She was on the, you know, the Constitution Committee. She was NEC chair. So she's just been everything. So, you know, you have that kind of experience, you know, sitting next to you. So there's a lot to tap on. Even when things are going tough and I'm stressed and, you know, I'm getting frustrated, there's always someone to look up to, and she's always there to give me, you know, that experience in her head. So I think it's brilliant. I think we're working very closely with the rest of the team. And you can see from the public, NOCA has been quiet for some time. That means a lot of things happening. We're quite busy. We can't even, you know, we don't know what's happening outside. So I think we have a great relationship here with the rest of the people. In terms of revenue, yes, our headquarters is a brilliant project. We're hoping to complete it by July. The plan was to open in July 26th, but we have to extend that. There are a lot of things going on now, you know, with ongoing negotiations and discussions. So we might probably do that in August. It's a project that's funded by internal revenue, which is good. You know, when you have this big project, it forces you to cut down expenses, to be tight on your expenses, because you have, you know, these kind of big capital projects that you're trying to complete. So a lot of our focus, a lot of our revenue, you know, has been going into that. It's also giving me reason, you know, to reduce internal spending, you know, which is always good. So we're hoping to complete that project by next month, and by August it's ready to move in, you know, then we can also start paying rent. And that'll be the first corporate headquarters in 25 years. So we're excited. A lot of companies that are
Excellent.
far older in NoCal has been unable to do that, and we're putting up the state of the art, structure over there. So we're excited about that, and we're trying to raise revenue in different ways. A lot of times in the past, we just focus on revenue generated. It goes into payroll, and recurring expenses. But we're trying to look at what's on the market. How do we generate? Because to be an integrated oil and gas company, I can tell you just to do one filling station will cost $1 million. So you can imagine how much money you need. So we need to be able to raise money in different ways and to be able to spend that money, in a very prudent and cautious way. But I mean, the good thing is that my experience in finance and audit, has helped me to be quite prudent and quite careful how I spend money, how I count for money. So that experience has been very helpful to me, as I've transitioned to this role.
Thank you. Tomalin, you can go ahead and ask.
The next person.
Yeah,
Not me,
okay.
though. Not me.
No, not me.
Okay, go ahead.
The last. But I will you to the female.
Oh,
I will you. Let's give it up to the female. Go ahead.
okay. Mr. Lies, I want to say thank you again for
Thank you,
honoring
sir.
this request and explaining everything about local. I heard you talk about the move that the president made lately in terms of I think giving the black to the entity itself, right? And I also heard you talking about how Liberian companies gonna benefit from that, and the fact that a lot of Liberian companies don't have the capital, with regards to the amount of,
Yeah.
let's say, the amount of capital they would need to engage into some of these services. I just wanted to know from you, are you guarantee, or is NOCA going to guarantee the usage of Liberian companies? Because we have seen a lot of these things have come out wherein Liberian companies are being sidelined because they don't have this, they don't have that. A lot of excuses. Are you going to have a guarantee wherein the liberalization policy will actually work in the place wherein Liberian companies will be used in these other services that will be needed in order to empower them? Are you guys going to guarantee that?
So I would just start with even currently some of the expenses that and I will give this credit to my vice president for administration, Boaka Jaliba. He's very insistent on purchasing from Liberian businesses and Liberian. Even the corporate headquarter furnishing right now, he's fighting me every day. I'm like, even chairs, how can we get Liberian companies to provide office
Right.
chairs? And that's difficult for Liberian companies. They will do the decks and the tables and the rest, but then the chairs. So the vice president is quite keen on ensuring that the furnishing of that building, is done by Liberian companies and by Liberian businesses. It's localized. So I think that's I won't say it's a written policy within NOCAL, but it's implied that every purchase has to start with a Liberian company, except in the event where a Liberian company cannot provide a service or cannot provide the material that we're trying to get. Because if you give the vice president for administration chance, he might even buy cars produced by Liberians, if Liberians are producing cars, So I think I should give that to the team. They've been doing well with that, and we're hoping to continue. What we've told, and a lot of the times we speak to Liberian businesses, you need to step up, because for oil and gas, the standard is so high.
Right.
Just water supply, they won't do mineral water. It has to be spring water, a rig.
Right.
Even catering services. Currently, I remember in the past, to get a Liberian caterer to provide catering services to the rig, it was easy. So what we've tried to tell them, you do not need to have all the services in-house. You can source out. Ghana has been producing for a couple of years. Cote d'Ivoire has been producing. Nigeria has been producing. If you have, for example, a catering service contract, to provide catering services to this oil rig, you can also subcontract. You can bring chef from Nigeria, you can bring chef from Ghana, they can combine with your chef here, they can shadow, and you can learn off them for some time, and then you take over fully, because that's the only way you'll be able to pass some of these some of these requirements because we're still new. So there's a lot of there's a lot of discussion going on at the back, with Liberian businesses. We're trying to partner with the Liberian Business Association and the Chamber of Commerce, just to make sure that we prepare Liberian businesses for some of these things, some of these opportunities that are coming. Because many times we say, okay, yeah, we want Liberian business, but again, you have to be ready and prepared to provide a service. So what we're doing is to get them prepared and get them ready to be able to provide these services.
Thank you so much, and I want to also applaud your team for actually really doing that, because our people really deserve better. It will be very, very good and helpful if you guys can make use of them, and I hope they themselves will step up to the plate as well, just like you said. My next question would be, you talk about your corporate office. Did you guys started building any? How soon? Since when you guys started building that office? Is it about to be over yet? Done?
So the original timeline was 18 months. We're supposed to finish the office within 18 months. But there's been some slight delay, both from our side in terms of timely payment, and then from the contractor side also in terms of getting material in country on time. Sometimes shipping delay. I know the elevator was delayed for some time. The glass, I don't know what it was. We had some crisis quite recently with shipping, so it also delayed. So that has also caused some delay. But the project was initially planned for to be completed within 18 months. But I think we're running over 2 years now. So
you guys initiated the project, or it was done by the previous government?
So the previous management secured the property, the land, but we had some issues with it later on. We came in. Some legal issus. We all know what.
So they didn't put any structure up at all?
No, the structure. They started the structure, the concrete structure.
Oh.
They started the concrete structure. But there was a lot of cash that was still outstanding. They started, but which was a good, and I must applaud the former CEO. Nokal has had this dream for years. I remember 10 years ago when I was at Nokal, we started renovating the National Housing Bank on Ashmont Street. That project was not completed. We bought a property in Marshall. Also, the headquarters never went up. And she came and she saw things, and she was able to initiate it. Okay. And now, we've come in. We've been able to make some changes to the design. We've been able to, raise the money that's needed to get it off the ground and complete it. So, I must say she did a good job, starting, especially from a difficult period. The last 6 years was quite difficult when she was CEO. But she was able to start a project. So hats off to her.
Okay. I also want to thank you to giving her that credit, because a lot of times we see people, sometimes certain things they come immediately that they started, they don't seem to give credit to, where credit belongs. And like we all know, government is continuity. So when you get there, you see where your friends started, you take off from there and continue. So I want to applaud you for that. Hamad, you can go ahead.
I think that was a very good point you made. But when the issue, or when people hear about Loka, two things usually come to mind. One, and I'll try to simplify it just as you've been doing, the oil place, and two, the place that went bankrupt, or it was bankrupted. So those two things always come to mind. So has Loka turned the corner in terms of it bankruptcy now?
So yes, so how do I explain it? So 2013 and 2014 was this oil sector was at its peak. A barrel of oil was selling for $125, $140 a barrel, 13, 14. And then, when you have a lot of money at a particular phase, and then you're not strategic, you think that you'll continue to have that kind of cash inflow. So what happened to Noka was that they started to expand so quickly without considering the fact that there could be a decline in the price of crude, which is normal, and then there will be slowdown in the revenue that was coming in.
So I don't think the Noka went out of money. Their expenses became too high to compete with the the revenue that was coming. So what the company did at the time was to just downsize, reduce revenue, reduce expenses to a level that they can accommodate, and then the company continued to survive. Noka has always been able to attract revenue. So and we have that at the back of my. Fortunately for me, my background is in that petroleum economics. So a lot of the strategic planning and strategy on how we raise revenue, how we manage revenue into the future, is quite key, especially for even where I sit my role. So currently, even the revenue that we generate, we could be having a lot of inflow this year from data sale, for example, is because there's a lot of interest in the basin now. So a lot of people are buying data, they have interest in the basin, they want to see where they want to invest. So you have a lot of revenue coming in this year. But there's no guarantee that you have those revenues coming in next year when the interest goes down. So we have to be able to project that within the next 3-4 years, we should have revenues to be able to cover costs, and run the entity within the future. So yes, we're generating revenue now. Yes, we also preparing for the time that we will not be able to generate revenue that's coming in now, and we have to be able to diversify. And that's why we're also on taking activities that no matter what the circumstances, will be, we will still be able to generate income. And downstream is one area. Maybe when I open one gas station on Chief Coming Town, you have to you're forced to buy gas from us, and we'll continue to have revenue. If we start bringing in HFO, you always have LEC here with their generator. They will still be required to buy fuel from us. So we're trying to find different ways, we can generate revenue than just rely on the traditional way Noka has always depended on for revenue. So that will continue, will keep us, into motion, will keep us financially stable for the foreseeable future. And when you go to other countries, that's common there. You go to Angola, Senegal owns almost everything. They even own tailor shops and all. So that way, they continue to have revenue always, not just relying on offshore activities when there's no data sale, when there's no company coming in to drill and then they go dry. No. So we're copying from some of these countries, we're learning from some of these countries, and we're trying to diversify and create a lot of revenue sources for the company.
Thank you. As you provide some very great responses, and honestly, they also create reason for many other questions. I don't have that luxury to do that, and so I think that the protocol, maybe when I do come back, I will ask some of them. But let me ask my question. But on the way to my last question, I just wanted to answer this by saying, does NOCA contribute to the national budget, concerned that its financial order is generating revenue? Is it a contributor to national budget? That you can answer that on the way to answering the. You can answer that while answering my second, which is, how do you technically NOCA identify blocks? And the reason I'm asking that question is because you are unable now to project between exploration and discovery. You cannot be certain as to when there could be discovery. But then how are you able to project blocks that, look, between this space to this space, there's a potential for oil to be either discovered here, or between this space, this basin to this basin? I think you said we got about around 32. How do you project those? How do you project that to say within oil? Yeah, even though you are unable now to say after 10 years, after 2 years, after 1 year, we could find that oil that we think is here. So that's my question, just so that we all get it.
So I will start with the budget contribution. So just today, I was in a budget meeting, revenue budget meeting with the Ways and Means Commission at the Capitol Building. And those are the things they were discussing. What contribution can we make to the budget, in the next fiscal year? NOCA has always been a big contributor to the budget, if not the biggest contributor. I remember in just the block 13, that you mentioned or someone mentioned, NOCA contributed just $45 million signature bonus to the national budget. I don't think there's a single state-owned enterprise that's done that. So NOCA has the potential to do that. What has happened was that the last 6 years, when President Weah, last 6 years was quite tough for the sector. All the companies had relinquished the blacks, they had left. There was no company at all. We didn't drill a single well. We did not sign a single petroleum agreement. So it was a dead 6 years. So NOCA was just surviving on crumbs, within the last 6 years. But then, fortunately for us, we've come in. There's a bit of excitement and interest again in the basin. Companies are looking our way. We're trying to sell the basin and promote the basin as much as we can, and we're beginning to see signs that there will be inflow of revenue like we saw within Madam Salif's 12 years. So there will be some good contribution to the budget, to the next budget, if not late this year, but early in the next 2026 budget. Local or the oil sector, upstream oil sector, will contribute revenue. What was the next one? Okay, oil. How do you know there's oil, right?
Yeah, because I mean,
so the basin. So that again, we have to simplify. So the basin, I say, is spread 33 blocks. So the blocks have sizes. So it's like 1,500 square kilometer to 2,500 square kilometer, and you create a block based on subsurface geology, how the ocean floor looks like, and then the water depth. The water depth when you stay next to the ocean, the coastline, is not the same than when you go 30 kilometers within the ocean. It gets deeper, right? So we have water depth from 500 meter up to 4,500 meter. So then you have to separate the blocks into those different, water depth, and then the geology. So that's how you have the 33 blocks. And then we have, I know it was something we should have talked about from the beginning. We just said data. So we have something called seismic data. So in simple terms, seismic data is like an X-ray. Hamed, when you say your arm is sprained or is broken, we say do an X-ray. So we're trying to see where the broken parts, is, right? So seismic data is an X-ray of the ocean floor that shows the subsurface structure. So oil sits in rock, so it's sediment. So when the sedimentary rock, the sandstones, different kinds of sand, it creates the impression or the sign that there's oil. So seismic shows those kind of information. So there's something called, so we have two kinds of seismic. We have the 2D, which is 2-dimension. It shows, the X-ray of the ocean floor in a 2-dimensional form. And then you have 3D, which is 3-dimension, which show a bit clearer view of what the ocean floors look like. So that is what companies purchase to be able to study and determine where they want to drill. Where you have the kind of rocks that you're looking at, where you have the concept play, where you have the kind of sand. It's just that when you're mining gold, I think they say when you get to certain sand, when you notice it's the gold around you. So there's certain sand when geology look at this, there should be an oil reservoir close. So those are the things the oil companies will study. There's a lot of studies, desktop study that goes on. There's a lot of evaluation that goes on to be able to determine where they would drill that well. So that's why sometimes it takes months and years to be able to make that determination, final determination where they will, to drill and what block, they want to take.
Okay.
I don't know whether that answered.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. La. NOCA recently entered into a collaboration agreement with Transoceanic Energy Group. Can you tell us more about the significance of this partnership and what it means for Liberia?
Oh yes. So Oceanic is a young Nigerian company, brilliant young Nigerians. They have I think they have a $2.7 billion gas project right now going in Nigeria. But the reason why we've been looking into the indigenous company that currently a lot of our upstream opportunity it can only be done by at least 6 companies in the world, which are the super majors, the Exxons and Chevrons and Total Energy and ConocoPhillips and the rest. But we want smaller companies, and these smaller companies, they can do $2 million investment, but they can do 10, they can do 15, they can do 20. In Nigeria, we all know how long they've been in the business. They've done it, they continue to do it. They've learned from their mistakes. So we're also trying to tap on them and learn from, some of the mistakes they've made so that we don't repeat the same thing, and to also encourage some of these small companies. So Oceanic is one of them. With onshore, we haven't done a lot of work. A lot of our oil is offshore. Ocean. So we're trying to look at onshore, which is
something happened to him.
Yeah, man.
I mean, everybody went off.
No, we're on. We're not hearing you. That's why.
So yes, so we have a lot of opportunity that we want to explore, and we're looking at the indigenous, African companies to, to take advantage of the opportunity. And then we also have nearshore, where we're looking at 100 meter to 200 meter water depth, which is easier and cheaper to invest in. The last time we drilled wells near shore was 40 years ago. So we think, there's opportunity there, and the smaller indigenous African, companies can take advantage of those opportunities. So that way, you have different players within the basin. You have the big companies that can do the big drilling, ultra deep, and you have the small companies that can also do near shore for amounts that are, affordable to them. They're willing to invest.
Anybody get?
Yeah, I got a question.
I got a question. You jacking me from asking your question, Amen.
No, go ahead. You were asking if anybody get a question.
Oh, okay.
So, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to push back on what Mr. Lai said, with regards to the previous government. Well, I shouldn't say push, but I just want to know the difference, because he said the previous government was a dead 6 years. They didn't do anything much. They didn't have whatsoever. What you said there said, because I know the CEO, she did.
No, I wasn't referring to the government.
The government?
I was just referring to. No, I wasn't referring to the government. I was referring to the period. I said that period was a difficult period. A lot of the companies have relinquished their acreage. They had left. Okay. And then we're not able to encourage them to come back. So within the last 6 years, there was inactivity. No company came. We're unable to sign. When I say we, as a country, we're unable to sign any petroleum agreement. So currently, even as I speak to you, the 33 blacks, there's no company that has signed or contract that has been rectified for any of the 33 blacks. We're just trying to push. Yes. Okay. So we're trying now to be able to encourage and negotiate companies to come in that period. So it wasn't the government, it was just a period I'm referring to, that there was inactivity within the basin.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that clarification, because I was because I know the reason why I wanted to ask that question is because I know the CEO did start some project with regard to the building, right? And if that project went to a good start, I mean to a point where you guys don't have to do, because I saw pictures of it. I saw pictures of the building. I saw pictures of some of the things that were supposed to be done there. And at that point, I don't think when you guys went over there, your medical was empty. I stand to be corrected. I know you made some kind of a little money in there. So to say that they didn't do anything or it was a period of inactivity, that's what I wanted to have my doubts clarified.
Oh yes, it was inactivity in the basin. When I mean inactivity, there was no drilling activity going on. For oil and gas, you can do all the other playing outside. You have to drill that well to find it, or if you don't drill, you can't find it. So I was referring to the drilling activities.
Okay.
But the companies NOCA was functioning.
So now you guys are getting little company coming in to sign up for stuff like that. We're
hoping people into the basin to start drilling. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
the only way. That's the only way we can find oil.
Yeah. Thank you. And can I ask a question? I hope. Oh, Siddiqui, sorry. Go ahead.
So. Yeah. Okay. Lahai, I mean, I think you are first and foremost a money or a transparency, accountability man than before perhaps the oil man, based on your long-term involvement in that sector. And so I'm concerned about the issue of the player and the referee. And I will start by referencing.
First, I want to see your face. Why are you asking that question?
Who's
asking? Ahmed or Sylvester?
No,
I'm asking.
Yeah, Ahmed. Yeah.
Yeah. So for a very long time, or at least for some time, there have been this issue between local and the how you call them, the oil authority or the regulatory body as to who regulates who controls the sector. Now that NOCA is about to become a player by owning an oil block, how is that relationship going to be? How are you going to reconcile that, considering on the issue of transparency, on the issue of trying not to be the player at the same time as a referee, and all of that?
And we have to try to simplify the understanding. You can be a state oil company, and then we say, quote unquote, you're independent. You compete with the oil companies. No, practice is difficult. We represent the state interest, and we look at the petroleum law.
Could you please say that again? When you went mute, and then we didn't hear. So could you just repeat what you said?
I was saying, when we say, a lot of times we say, oh no, you can't be a player and a referee at the same time. NOCAL remains a company, a state oil company. So whatever the case is, the interest of the state is our interest. So we can pretend, that, oh no, we are players, so we can, we focus on our interest. No, we focus on the state interest. We're state owned, 100%, state owned. When you look at the petroleum law, every petroleum agreement local has 15% they have to manage, which is 10% for the state, 5% for cities. So that means we're party to petroleum agreement. So how can we be independent from So it is a concept that we need to be able to explain to the public, so that they understand that, it keeps saying, oh no, the four functions are separated. You can be, because you're competing with the oil companies, so you can do this, you can do that. No, we're party to all those agreements. So how can you be a party to an agreement and then you're independent from the agreement? Every oil contract that you sign in Liberia, NOCAL is a party, because NOCAL manages the state and citizen participation, which is 15%.
Yeah, let me push back. It's not an issue of participation. I'm talking about regulation. Explain. So
regulation. The regulation is done by the Petroleum Commission, the Liberia Petroleum Regulatory Authority.
So, exactly. So NOCAL now, as a potential oil company, is under that state regulation.
Yes,
right?
Yes. So you see what this executive allocation that we talk about, we now need to go to the Petroleum Authority to give us the license. So the license is the petroleum agreement. So we now need to negotiate a petroleum agreement with the authority. And then as part of the regulatory function, they have to ensure that when that contract is signed, we're complying to the terms of the contract. That's the regulatory So they will issue the license, which is the petroleum agreement, and then they'll come follow up with, ensuring that we comply with the terms of those agreements. So yes, we're subject to the regulatory authority as a state-owned oil company.
So I want to ask a question, Mr. CEO. Holding everything constant from an approximate, let's just approximate, right? Because there was a period during the first UP administration, which was the Ellen administration. I mean, I thought it was considered the boom years of NOCA. That's when everybody knew about NOCA, right? We had all these companies, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Africa Petroleum. I do believe at one point they said Africa Petroleum even found oil, but not in commercial quantity.
Yeah, there was a discovery. Yeah, the Narina well, there was a discovery.
Yeah, so I want you to educate us on a couple of things. So the place that Africa Petroleum found that oil that was not commercial quantity, they no longer have that block. Are we starting from scratch? And if yes, when can we start to see some movement on the ground? I mean, I know these things take years. I know it takes months and months. It's not like a snap of a finger. So I want you to just provide us some education on when can we start to see some movement? When can we start seeing Liberians getting jobs from some of these companies and all of those things? When can we start seeing some movement? Just an approximate.
So we'll start with the Narina well. There was a discovery, and the petroleum agreement is a lease. So they gave you a 7-year lease to operate, the particular. So after 7 years, you can request to extend, or depending on circumstances, you can withdraw, allow other companies to come and take over. And that's what happened in Cote d'Ivoire. Total Energy has been, what Cote d'Ivoire is it's a French country.
Yeah.
Total has been there for years, and as soon as they step out, ENI came, a small Italian company, had a big discovery. Exactly. Wow. So it's a very tricky, sector for a lot of for people to easily understand. So estimation, I would say to you, and not to give a lot away.
Yes.
We have a lot of key negotiations ongoing. A lot of very interesting and important negotiations ongoing. We're hoping within the next 12 to 18 months, we should start, we should hopefully, start drilling. So
let me ask you, what is the interest level? I know you said a lot of key negotiations are ongoing. What is the interest level? Is it, you don't have to call companies' name. Are we still looking at companies in the realm of the Chevrons, the ExxonMobil? Are they still interested in Liberia?
So a lot of big companies are still interested, but the strategy is not to focus only on the big companies. And the reason we don't just want to focus on the big company is that their decision-making cycle is so long.
Very bureaucratic.
Like
on married man right now, if I'm on married, you say, Fabian, I'm gonna come here tonight. I'm just gonna pick up my phone, jump in my car, and I'm gone. But if I'm married, I want to see where my wife is. I need to ask of them. So it's more complicated. So we're trying to mix the companies. The smaller independent companies, they're easier. There's one CEO who make a decision, or two, board members, is within a month or two, the decision is made. But the big companies, the super major, it's a machine. So we're trying to have a mix of them because we believe that we don't have time. Now we have an opportunity. We have, have a Republican government who believe in fossil fuel. The discussion about clean energy, has relaxed a little bit. Companies have started the price of oil has gone up a little bit. There's more exploration budget now for companies. So we want to take advantage of this opportunity. It wasn't like that a couple of years ago. So now there's money for exploration. Let's make sure we get those companies to come in as quickly as we can. Let's drill as many wells as we can, and let's get to our first discovery. And for the Liberian people, I would like to make this point. We need to understand that there's nothing that the country, loses when you give these blacks out. We don't want to pretend. We're a frontier country. We have no history of discovery. The Harper Basin has no well drill ever. We have to practically beg these people to come and drill. When we have the first discovery, then we have something to negotiate from. Right? So we should not pretend like, oh no, there's oil, we want to give our oil free, and create difficulties for these companies. We're encouraging them. We want to come. We also want the public to be open-minded, and know that no, we practically have to beg these people to come in. And people with money, they like comfort, they don't like difficulties. So we have to make sure our fiscal terms are flexible. We have to make sure our governance system is open and welcoming to these investors. And let's have our first discovery. After that, and then we can become tired. You say, no, we're not doing that.
So my last question, my last question for Pewee, sorry. NOCAL is now a player, right?
Yes,
Executive allocation. It's as in addition to you looking for these companies, is NOCAL also looking for partners? Because NOCAL, at least they say you're breaking some news here tonight. I don't know if you have the capacity to be able to drill, right? You don't have that capacity. What are you going?
We can. The different things we're looking at, the different strategy.
Okay.
So we can find a company to partner with, right? And say, let's say you're company A, I can come to you and say, Chairman, you have both financial and technical capacity. I have a block with 100% equity. You can come and take 40% equity, or you can come and take 50 plus 1, right?
Okay.
You provide the technical capacity, you provide the financing, but I have the equity in the block, and then we'll work together and explore and drill the well. We can also do that. We can also, on the other hand, say no. And I will say this: a lot of these oil companies that you hear, the Exxons and the Chevrons, they don't do the drilling themselves. They don't do the work themselves. They subcontract. They're practically a management company. All they do, they provide the funding and then they manage. So I can find the money. I can go to the capital market, raise $50 million or raise $100 million. I have sovereign backing, right? I have whole equity in a block. I can go and hire a drilling company, Schlumberger, Baker Tilly, Baker Hedges, or any of these drilling company to come and drill well. Then I can hire a management team who be able to manage. So I have the money, I raise the money. I can hire a management team, right? They can use the money, they can manage the well, they can drill a well, they can have a discovery, and that discovery will be 100% NOCAL. So there's different approach and different strategy, we're looking at. But just to disclose a bit more, we might have a mix. We might decide on a mix of these approaches.
Okay.
So that way we keep bigger stick within these, within this block.
Thank you.
Mr. Lan. Oh, yeah. Yes, how is NOCAL strengthening transparency and accountability with the partners on your
I'm small John Molo. I was trained by John Molo. So we still and my friend was telling you my background is in audit and finance. So the issue, even a lot of times I have to, as I make decision, I have to say, no, you are no longer in that space. You have to make decision in administrative, space. So and I was head of audit for NOCAL for several years also. And I know a lot of the noise in the public has always been, oh, NOCAL was this, was that. And there are a lot of audits. All the audits that were conducted at NOCAL did not, reveal any, financial malpractice that was very damaging, because the system was set up there. We were able to set up the structure. We were able to ensure that, the transactions comply with the structure. And as head of NOCAL now, it's the same I'm doing. And a lot of times, even my accounts officer or my procurement, I get to a point where I'm like, oh no, it's bad, for your CEO, to have this kind of background. And sometimes we try to be overly transparent. But look at this, even the current scholarship process that we just ran, the local and international scholarship. Perfect. And I can say to anyone, is fully tested. Every individual has been listed. I think the list was published yesterday. Those kids, they went through the rigor. They were able to pass the test. They were able to sit the interviews. The interview conducted by, we got people from LIPA, from I think Metal Steel. We just brought, a group of, I don't even know half of all the people that came to interview the kids. I don't know none of them. And all of them that qualify, they deserve it, and that's how we want it to be. Because I also benefited from scholarship, and when you say you're a scholarship student, you have to be a scholar, meaning you competed and you're able to excel. So we know the sector is a very secret, sector also. You can't say a lot, but on the other hand, you also have to be transparent, because you're managing state, resources and asset. But we have to have a balance between the two. What we can disclose, a certain phase, like, and the chairman asked me a question right now. If other sector, I will have to be able to disclose. I can disclose to you, but now you can't disclose because they're all competing against each other. You can't say who you're talking to and who you're not talking to until you sign up a deal. Yeah. So it's a very closed sector, but also as a government agency, we have to try to be transparent, and we try to see how we can balance the two.
Yeah, youth empowerment and job creation are key national priorities. So how is NUCA contributing towards that with oil and gas sector?
NUCA as a company, we can hire a lot of people. It should be a small management company. Highly technical people, geoscience, physicists, and the rest. But we're creating different opportunity. Like I was telling you, the show based in Buchanan is a $2.1 billion project.
Wow.
If we can get it, but we can't get it off the ground. We can get it into full swing within the next 5 years. I think to get that show base ready, functional to full capacity, it will take around 10, 12 years. If there's a discovery, it becomes even worse, than that. But it's going to create a big economy. They're going to boost the economy in Buchanan. It's going to hire a lot of people, both skilled and unskilled, workers. If we go into downstream, big is also going to create, a lot of opportunity for people. Just constructing filling stations and manning them and managing them, will create jobs for people. Scholarship is a big area. There's a big scholarship fund within, each petroleum agreement. So we will also that will create jobs for people indirectly, because if we get people educated, we get doctors educated, we got people training in different fields. They come back to the country, and they can find jobs in different fields. I know the program currently is structured for graduate, undergraduate, but we're trying to embed skills training, which I personally believe is a big area that's lacking in this country. Just to have a professional painter, for example, who's trained how to paint properly, just a professional tile layer. You see carpenters, you see all the construction work across the country. You can know that we have a lot of gap in that area. You go to other countries, you see construction work. You have good people. Here we have that gap. So we want to focus in that area too, to properly train people and license people in those areas. So as part of the training, our development program. So yes, that directly might not create job for you, but when you properly train, indirectly, you have the potential to get jobs somewhere else.
Yes. Fabian, let me push you back to the same topic about the scholarship. You can. There's this. We recently had one of your colleagues. I think he said you guys all went NOCA sent folks out, and there was there's no plan immediately. Most of them returned to the country, very competent. NOCA spent thousands of dollars to have them trained, brought in oil and gas, different discipline in the oil and gas area. But immediately they came back, NOCA started to push them back, dismiss most of them, and they didn't have capacity. What are you doing, this administration doing, to put into place a kind of a structural policy that will allow those folks to go and get trained, and then return? NOCA will have a kind of a way to accommodate them adequately, and then that will encourage other people that will be prepared to go and learn, come and contribute to the country. Because the first group batch, most of them are comrades, and they came NOCA dismissed, and they have to. Most of them found themselves now in the diaspora, or even those in Liberia may not have the kind of a particular field they want to operate in. What is your management doing different?
It's easier, Sylvester. Part of the reason why we're looking at the executive allocation is to create jobs for those people. And I will give an example. If I buy a car right now and I can't drive, what does that tell you? I have to learn how to drive by all means now, right? So the fact that on the executive allocation we've been given a block to manage, it's a big tax that we can't even, I don't know where we'll start from. So this is the time that we need those people now. Now we're looking for those people that have been trained in the sector, that will say, hey, we have this job now, we have to be able to do it. So a lot of those people now will have opportunity, and a lot of these different things that we're working on will create opportunity, for them. The drilling engineers, the petroleum engineers, the mechanical engineers, they will, we can say we'll take all of them, but there will be opportunities now created for people specialized, in this field. And the upcoming scholarship, national scholarship program, is not just focusing on training people in oil and gas. No, it's training people in all, the different sector.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Part of the
we're working with education, and all the different government agencies.
Yes, the report that came out when, and I'm sorry, I would just have to bring some of these things back. When the report came out about the former CEO that the president suspended, there was this issue of a contract that she gave to a particular technical group to do kind of a survey. I may not be exact on that. It was alleged that they spent around $300,000. Yeah, the geological survey. Great. They spent around $300,000. Can you give an update as to where is that survey now, and did you spend all of the money to that particular technical institution to do, say, geological survey, and what's the current update on that survey?
So I think it was a good intent, and that's something I'm also trying to expand on. We haven't done a lot of work onshore. So what the geological survey would try to do is to be able to so we have two prospective basins now, the Rabbit and Bassa Basin, is to be able to conduct further study and see if we can acquire additional data, in those areas that will be able to assist, with more studies and encourage companies, to come and look at and invest in those areas. So I think it was a good idea. It was a good, mind behind that. But I know there was issue with how the contract was awarded, the qualifications of the company. But because it's an ongoing investigation, it's not something, I also want to make a lot of comment on, because that situation is being, or that award process and contract is being investigated currently by the LECC. So, but it's a project that, is part of our strategic plan. Is an area that we are focusing on, expanding our onshore basin.
All right, I have a question.
Sure.
So, you've been expanding a lot on a lot of the good things that you guys plan to do, which is very good for our country, and I want to applaud you for it. I also want to ask about, because I know when the president gave you guys that go ahead, to take control of certain blocks, the legislature was not, happy about that. I want to know at what point in time, do they have oversight responsibility on some of the things that you guys do, just to ensure that the interest of the country is paramount? At what point in time? Because I heard the legislature was not, happy about that.
Oh, yeah, I think there was with what the law requires, or the process, that is required. And I must admit that the way the law was written, there's weaknesses in how the law was written. But I think we've clarified a lot of that to the legislature and to, people within, the executive.
So
the process is that. The process is. I would say yes, to some extent. Key people who understand the sector within the legislature, they understand what it is. The president allocates the equity in the block, and then we go to LPRA and negotiate the agreement, and then we take that agreement to the legislature for ratification. So you can have a petroleum agreement if it's not rectified by the legislature. So everyone, but they're at the tail end. They can be just like when the president makes an appointment. So the president does not consult the legislature to make an appointment. And the president sends that appointed official to the legislature for confirmation. Right. So when the president allocates the black to NOCAL and then NOCAL gets the PSC from LPRA, then it goes to the legislature for ratification.
Okay. So the allocation of the black, I know somebody asked that same question with regards to how Liberians are going to be part of that whole deal. I know you say you guys are going to maybe partner with other companies or, you know, do something else, or I don't know. But at the end of the day, I just want it to be something that our country and our people can benefit from. It doesn't matter, you know, what kind of deal it is, as long as it is fair enough for our people, because the world is changing right now. It's time for us to have Liberia first. It's time for all of us to focus on that. A lot of countries now are focusing on their country first. So it's time for us to focus on Liberia first and Liberians first. You know, so I just want to make that point clear that if for any reason you guys are partnering with any other company, the interest of our country should be paramount. The interest of because there's a tendency that some people say, oh, like the other guy that came on the show, I think I can remember, I even asked him that question. He was talking about maybe some Liberians can go and put together and own a black and stuff like that. It should not be that way. It should be Liberians own. It should be something that would benefit the country, not individuals. You know, so and I had a problem with that, but I think he clarified it, and you know, I just want to make that comment that if for any reason you guys are going into any deal, our country and our people should take center stage.
But Sarah, the other side of that is that the CEO very emphatic. He want to see our people taking center stage, but the issue of the finance, you need to have certain things to take the center stage. The brand business will have to raise money to do those things, and that's one of the reasons why we need now for the government to build a vibrant private sector that would allow some of these things. But it's good. It's a long-term process. I think they'll all be planning. But the fact that he said even his vice president is trying to seek that furnishing of the building, they try to seek the input of Liberian local businesses. These are good things. That's the beginning of those things unfolding. I mean, that was one of the perform things that I heard. It's a major takeaway that we were empower our Liberians, local businesses that will move and do some of those things. Yeah, but Mr. Lai, let me push you on this. What is your current workforce capacity? Have you reinforced strength, or are you still hiring in the area? For now, I know that you are about to have a state-of-the-art modern headquarters. Are you a full capacity now in terms of hiring, or are you going to push to hire some new college graduates that are aspiring to go in the oil and gas area, or other administrators? Where are we on that?
So we're very careful with and just you know, learning from my experience, you know, when I was on local in the past, where we just overflowed it, you know. So we're very careful with, you know, who we bring in. It has to be someone that adds value, you know, to what we're currently trying to do. It has to be someone who has a skill set that we cannot get, you know, internally, and it has to be someone that, you know, we have the revenue to be able to compensate. So the plan is to bring in people based on activity. So, for example, if we move downstream with, you know, X activity, and then we set up a small team, you know, that manages the activity, we first look internally. Do we have people that have skill set? If they don't have, can we train them? If training won't help, and we have to bring somebody, you know, to so the team can learn from or can shadow from, then we'll bring in, you know, a key person to be able to manage that project. And then, you know, but I'm very careful with, you know, having costs, you know, accumulate in terms of person. While we want to create job, while we want to, you know, hire more people, we also have to be careful, you know, what that leads the company. So currently, I won't say we have full strength because of the activities we want to undertake, but I also don't want to you know, overflow the place. So because of that, even the plan is our corporate headquarters We don't intend to occupy all the floors. I want to bring in maybe 1 or 2 government institutions, just so that, you know, when you see empty spaces, then you get tempted. You want to bring in people that you don't even need. And then you just increase the payroll, and then you can, after some time, you can, you know, pay people. And it's embarrassing why you're trying to focus on long-term projects, and then people demonstrating downstairs that you can't pay them, or you don't even have the money to invest in some of these capital projects that you want to undertake. And so we're very careful with that.
Yeah, since you took over, I don't know if you, because there was a time I went out quickly. Sorry, quickly. Since you took over, I don't know if you stated on there. Have you commissioned audit since you took the Garguah Authority as acting CEO? Have you commissioned any audit, or do you, if not, do you intend to commission audit soon?
Sylvester, you know that my area there. So every day I'm auditing. Every transaction that I sign is audited before I sign it.
I got that.
Yeah, but I will say to you, yes. So NOCA has not been audited for the last 4 years by the GSC.
Yes.
So currently we have the GSC they're doing the last 4 years, and then we have the internal audit agency also auditing the last year. So they're looking at just 2024, because the idea was to be able to, when I transition into the role, to just see where I was sitting, you know, what has happened in the last year, you know, to have an understanding of what, you know, it was. And so I had to bring in the internal audit agency quickly to handle that. So I think that audit is already closing down. They finished the fee work. I think they're currently drafting the report. And then the GSC is coming in to audit the last 4 years from 2021 to 2024.
That's good. Do you have your own management internal control?
I'm a certified public accountant, man.
Go ahead, man.
Audit every transaction.
I got you, brother. I know. I want the public to hear you say it.
Can I ask my question now?
Go ahead, Siddiqui, go on.
But Hamid, I left this living room in the car.
La.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to go back on that ownership issue, you know, and I'm doing that because of your own skill set, particularly when it comes to the issue of accountability, transparency, and as an auditor.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we have noticed historically that our public institutions have not really been managed effectively to the extent that it brings back positive outflow to the citizens, to the government, stuff like that. Up to this point, of course, LEC is not, I'm not too sure its fullest potential, NADA is zero, and many other public utilities and institutions. Local is about to own a public asset, the oil. What experience, what have you learned from those experiences? And by the way, you have a very good team at Local currently. The guys you mentioned, they are great people. But what safeguard are we going to put in place so that we do not see the replica of the same thing we are seeing in many of our public sector things, to the extent that it is a common saying among Liberians that, for example, you prioritize LEC, you prioritize water and sewer in a mind, that's the only way they think it could work effectively and at its full potential. Giving an all black to Nuka, are we going to see this safeguard? What measure being put in place?
So I think the first thing I would say is I will come to the job very humble. I don't pretend to, though I've been in and around oil and gas for over 10 years. I've been in and around Liberia, you know, for over 15 years. We'll come to the job very humble. And fortunately, we have, long years of private sector experience, working for very efficient private sector company. So we try to embed that in what, we're trying to do. And then, I have a simple argument and just from the science background, my argument has always been to become a CEO for a company or public corporation, you should, especially for a company like NOCAL, a lot of people think, you should be a scientist or should be an engineer. And my argument has always been science and business are different. And to manage a company, a profit-making company, you need a business mindset. That's why a lot of Fortune 500 companies in America, you have to come from business school. You need an MBA, because the way you approach things, the way you make decisions, is from the business background. When you're a scientist, and this is not, with all due respect to the scientists and the engineers, the way they're trained is a bit different. So we bring that approach to NOCAL. We try to be as humble as we can, to learn as much as we can, to be able to tap on everyone's experience and use the team. I don't come to the role thinking that, oh no, a lot of my vice president, maybe they're new to the sector. So I think I'm a know-it-all guy. My ideas are, they're permanent. They can be, changed or questioned. So with that approach, we try to be as efficient as much as we can. We try to learn as much as we can from the rest of the team. And we apply that every day in what we're trying to do and to run, an efficient company. And I come from, if a lot of people who has run companies, so we have a management structure or a management approach called OKR, Objectives and Key Results. I've been able to, a lot of the staff, when I introduced, the book and ask people to read it, to just understand the kind of structure and the kind of management approach we're trying to undertake, we were excited. So now we have people setting, KPIs at all department level. They're setting up objectives and the different results they want to achieve. And then we're following up and trying to, ensure that people achieve the targets and set targets that are, challenging and achievable. So a lot of these different things that we, trying to introduce and staff are taking on to them is helping the company. And I can say a lot of things we've achieved in the last 4 months, I'm quite amazed, with the way people even come to work. 7, 8 o'clock, people, NOCAL is already crowded. 7, 8 p.m. people are still trying to finish tasks, before going home. I'm excited with the team, the way they've, the kind of effort they apply in showing, towards the job. It's not common for, government agency, but because they're seeing results, because they're seeing the things we want to do, they're seeing targets that are achievable, so they want to do, they want to do more. So we're trying to distinguish ourselves from, from the normal traditional state entities.
Thank you. Thank you. So, obviously, you serve in a public entity. You are a member of the Unity Party. I'm sure there is a side of you that is political. And so, if you don't mind, we would like to deviate a little bit from the NOCAL and ask some political questions. And I will start by saying first, when I commended you for coming on the show, it wasn't only because I knew that you would have provided very powerful, strong, and great information, but it's because also the Unity Party implicitly have decided that it will launch and have all its officials of government going on its own platform where they go to talk to themselves, praise themselves. Was it difficult for you to come on a non-partisan, non-biased platform as the closing argument? Do you think by coming on this platform you will receive any backlash from your colleagues and friends who are closer, who are how you gonna think, class reloaded driven? Do you think you're gonna face any backlash by going off the street and coming on a different platform that is not theirs?
So to answer your question, I'll say I just asked the chief. I didn't even hesitate, right? He said, "Come on the show." I said, "I will come." I just was not. It wasn't possible that week because I was engaged, and you know, this is Liberia. We're all Liberians. You know, we're trying to communicate to our people. I don't think my colleagues, you know, I don't think that's the stand that, oh no one, you know, that works for the government should come on the closing argument. I don't think it's a stand. I know we you know, in politics you have to take some strong lines, and politics, I think we shouldn't just, you know, relate politics to government. You know, even private sector, to be able to survive, private sector, corporate, you know, there's a whole big politics within the private sector. So big companies like, you know, Apple's and Samsung and all those companies, to be able to excel there, you have to understand, you know, the politics is everywhere. So the closing argument, it wasn't, I didn't see you like, you know, you're coming here. How can you, what are you going to do with me here? You ask me questions that I can't answer. I would just smile. I like to smile. Just smile at you, Ahmed. I said, let's move to the next one, Ahmed. You know, so there was nothing I was afraid of. I thought it was an opportunity to explain a difficult sector to our people. And I can see this sector. Look, we've been around this thing 15 years. We still don't understand it. You know, no one should pretend to you. Our professors that's been in the sector for 30, 40 years, and they'll come to class and tell you, look, we're still learning a lot of things because things are shifting every day in oil and gas. You're learning new things. Even the oil well that you talk about, that was not, you know, that we drill here, there was a discovery, but it was not commercially viable. Yeah, that was that year. Who knows right now? That well could be commercially viable with technology and different, you know, changes within the sector. So I thought it was an opportunity to, you know, talk to our people, to provide some, you know, basic, you know, explanation, understanding of some of the things we're doing, and take some of the things that we have in the public.
And Mr. Lam, I will commend you because we are getting positive feedbacks about you from your performance today, your appearance, and people are very impressed. They're happy that the panelists are asking the questions that Liberians have been trying to ask. You're answering the questions, so I think you are. I mean, I think you are apolitical. Well, you are not acting like a politician yet. You're acting like a real tech administrator and someone who wants to explain the odds that sector of our country, because, like you said, many Liberians, they're just hearing some stuff today that we don't have we still do not have a commercial, or we're not commercializing yet. Yeah, we stay in the discovery stage, and everybody thought that because, you know, when President Salih said, when they said the oil sector went bankrupt, no card, he said, I take the blame. People said, and then we saw some of the money that was spent around by during our administration. People were concerned. People that feel that Nuka is this oil rich place. But with that being said, I think you are holding your turf well, and I think we're very impressed. But let me ask quickly 2 questions quickly before we'll soon be leaving. What message would you like to share with Liberians and international partners about the direction of Nuka is still heading? And finally, what is the vision for Nuka, and how do you see the company transforming Liberia's energy?
So for our people, you know, we have to remain humble as a country. That we have no history of discovery. We have no history. We're not an oil producing country. So we have to continue to remain humble. Liberians love to pray, so we have to continue to pray, and we have to continue to encourage these companies, you know, to come here and to drill well for us. You know, we have to practically beg them to come here. You know, we shouldn't pretend like, you know, with Nigeria and Angola and Libya and Algeria, you know, those oil producing countries. We are not. We have no history of that. Let's get to first oil. Let's have that first discovery. You know, even if we have to lie down and let these oil companies walk on our back, you know, let's do it. Let's let them come in and drill that well. Let's have that discovery. When we have that discovery now, then we'll go back to our villages and say, look, you got to come back on the table. We need to talk now. We need to set some, you know, strong benchmark. So let's approach the sector that way. Let's not politicize it. You know, this is not a sector that love politics. It's a sector, you know, we say in the street, is a sector that doesn't like noise. don't create noise, then they won't come. Let's stay humble, let's stay quiet, let's get to fresh oil. To our international partners, the first thing I would say, oil companies like to operate in stable environment. We've had 3 successful elections, democratic elections, so we're quite stable. The idea that Liberia is a war-torn country, the people, they come here, the security issues, we've been able to push that away, by the 3 elections that we've held successfully, peacefully. So we have we're a very stable country, and we have very attractive fiscal terms. The fiscal terms is the financial, term that, encourages companies to come. So we have a very good fiscal terms. We're willing to negotiate a lot of those, fiscal terms. So we encourage companies, to come. And the process is quite simple. We've tried to make the process very simple, not complicated for these companies. So we continue to, sell those information to them, and hopefully, we can get as many companies in as we can.
So we have a few more minutes. So you guys want to ask one question, so we can just Mr.
Yeah, I got a question.
You ain't ask me about all the things I want to do in the next 5 years.
I just asked you for your vision. I just asked you though.
Oh, that was the question. What I was trying to tell you. Say what's my words today.
I said, what your vision for the next?
But we'll have another show. We need to have another show on that, Chief.
Okay.
I got 8 key areas I want to focus on. When I start right now, we will end the show.
Wow. Wow. It sounds good.
Yeah. Yes.
So I heard you talk. I heard you talk about the country being stable, and you're trying to, encourage investors to come in and stuff like that. But for the past couple of months that we've seen, maybe 7, 8, 9 months, we've seen a lot of lawlessness from this government in terms of what happened at the Capitol, and the instability of everything else that's going on. And I don't know your quest for investors to come in, whether is going to fly with them, because a lot of international investors and partners, they do follow our story in Liberia. They see what's going on, and they see, especially with what happened to our capital and our the illegal removal of the speaker, and at the end of the day, they had to make it legal, and all of that. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? You think investors still have the confidence to come and invest in Liberia with all of what's been going on, what is being afforded in our country? You think they still have that confidence?
I don't company, when I talk about being stable, I mean political stability. We don't have war here. Civil unrest, demonstration, those things. Those are normal component of democracy. Even the great US, we know what happened at Capitol Hill. They removed speakers. There's been different. So those are, and those are not things I want to comment on, because I'm not a specialty in that area. But when you sell the country to oil companies, those are not big concerns they have. Except there's real civil unrest. There's a, like we hire with April 6 and the rest of them. Then there's stability. But those political conflicts,
I know you don't want to comment on it, but what I'm trying to say is that, say for example, you had an investor come in here and invest in our country, in the oil area, and maybe there was some thing that happened and their rights were violated and stuff like that. With the kind of way things are going, our judicial system seem to be kind of wavering in terms of doing the right thing. You think they're going to feel okay to come here if they cannot have their rights respected?
So when you look at the petroleum agreement, a lot of the arbitration, is different on different laws. For example, there's an arbitration for an oil company. It's either under the British, arbitration system. So it is different because these are international companies. So they don't come in. They don't even, the fact that international company, they can take you to a Liberian court. So yes, an international court. That's independent from the two companies. So They're not. I don't think a lot of companies are not worried about that. When you speak to these companies, they just want stability where your offices are open. You know, you don't have guns and bombs falling everywhere. You know, then they can function, and the local offices can function, and then people can, you know, go on these drilling rigs. So keeping the guns silent is quite important to them, and that's what we've done within the last 20 years, which is quite important. But with other small political conflict here and there, those ones, it comes with democracy. We'll have it, you know, here and there. But
yeah, okay, Fabian, let me ask my last.
Can we
let me
real quick?
No, we need to go. Fabian, okay, go ahead with your follow up. All right, we need to go today.
No,
go ahead. Go ahead.
It's more or less like a comment. I mean, I heard him when Ahmed asked about Ahmed talking about, you know, Noka being bankrupt, and he said that he didn't think that it was actually bankrupt. He felt that they didn't have money or something like that. I think it was that answer was a little bit dishonest, because if they went bankrupt, I mean, I'm pretty sure they kind of mismanaged some funds over there, and even the president took a responsibility for that. So there was a mismanagement of funds. It was not only because they didn't have money or whatsoever. They did mismanage some funds, for which reason, you know, the company went bankrupt. But I want to believe that would not happen in your case with your level of, expertise. I just wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, what I was saying there was that the cost has been increasing over time versus the revenue that was coming in. So the company had to get to a point where they say, "Oh no, we have to." It's just like any big company would do. Like even the oil companies would do that. They would lay off staff because cost has recurrent cost has exceeded what the current revenue stream of the company is, and that's what happened in 2015. Local recurrent costs had gone so high versus the revenue that they had coming in.
So you think it wasn't due to mismanagement of funds?
I mean, if you increase your cost at a level that you can no longer afford, it's part of mismanagement. Yeah, I mean, you are not very strategic in decision making, and a lot of the costs that you are adding, you could not project, the where the revenue will come from to cover that. So yeah, I would say part of that, is on management. Part of that also, is on the sector at the time. The oil and gas sector also had gone down. So management was not able to predict that timely, that within this period there'll be a slowdown in the sector. We will not have the kind of revenue that we need, or that we would need to be able to support the expenses. So yeah.
Go ahead, Pewee. I think he's just trying to cover his fellow Europeans, but go ahead, Pewee.
You don't expect the man to answer the question the way you really want it.
No,
so I think they would not leave from here, right?
No, because we need to understand. When bankruptcy, we need to understand. I don't want to go into the financial definition of bankruptcy, but we also need to understand what that word means versus what actually was happening. There was two things happening. Expensive was, just like Sylvester was telling me. So we built a 6-story building now, and I'm just there filling every room out with people, forgetting to know that the revenue I have now, I might not have it tomorrow.
Right? Yeah.
In the sector also, it's a very interesting sector.
Of the local CEO, what's going on?
No, I'm not protective of him. I respect him. I'm not protective of him. No, I'm not. No.
Is that because you're karate expert?
No. Listen, let me say this. No, I made a disclaimer before I came on the show that I respect him. He's a professional man. I know Fabian Lab very well. He's a professional, very smart person. He's a very good administrator. So I made a disclaimer. I'm not protective. What I'm saying to you,
the people you push back on the show, you don't respect them. They are not professional.
I respect them. I respect every human being. I respect you. I respect you from a head of from chair. I'm not the chairman of the CDC, right? I respect you. Vice chair. I respect you. I respect you, my dear brother. But let me say this quickly. The question Sarah asked, someone was saying it would have been maybe Fabian is not political, but Fabian, is unassuming, but he somehow will answer more politically, right? Very unassuming, but very detailed also in looking at the whole issue. And you saw the way he answered this issue about the speak up process. The speak up thing, I don't think that would be tantamount to political destabilization, right? That is just an isolated thing that unfolded in the country. That investor will not turn that the country is in pariah line or so. But that was an isolated thing, politically isolated situation that unfolded. I thought that was a very smart way of answering it. I'm not again protecting him, but I thought that was a very great way to handle it. But Fabian, a question before you leave. I just want to ask you this question. What is do you miss working of the GSE versus knockout? What do you really see yourself? The GSE and that of your current field?
So, the a couple of years now, I left audit. I became a CFO for 4 years and another 3 years. I think probably 6 years combined. My frustration in audit was, the kind of work that go into audit. You do all these beautiful reports, beautiful recommendations, and nobody reads them. And no one implements all the beautiful things that you want to do or you think should be done. So I got to a point where I was like, instead of making those recommendations, I want to be in a role where I can implement those recommendations. Then I don't have to be asking Sylvester, my CEO, or my general manager, that Sylvester, we have to do this. No. I'm there. I'm going to do it myself. So, transitioning as CEO of NOCAL, I think that's my biggest excitement. That these things I wanted to do, I've been wanting to do for years, I'm now doing them. I'm saying this is how I want it. This is what we want to do. And as common example is just our NOCAL logo. The first thing I did in week 1 was, I don't need that logo. We are integrated oil and gas company. We're not going to have this kind of logo here. We need a 3D logo in this 21st century. So now that's the assignment that, all the things I've wanted to do, all the recommendations I've made in the past, I have the opportunity now to implement it. So I don't miss audit.
Okay.
Hopefully, maybe in the future, I might be looking at that again if things change.
Quickly, what's the intent of spreading all of the vice president around you and the rest of the vice president? Last time, some of the vice president here in the US, some in the UK, and I think you and Emmanuel Zango went another place. What's the intent of that? Is it you guys are looking around, looking for resources to come to the country, investment to come? What's the intent of you, your vice president, everybody spread
So I
across
will
the place?
simplify that again. When when our grandparents Yes, so I will simplify that again. When you and I, we were brothers with maybe Ahmed and Tomalin, and our mom sells donut in the community. If you are the only one selling Sylvester, your sales won't be as much as when we are all selling, right? 4 of us, you can go different direction. So that's the approach. We're trying to, because the last year or so, we've been moving quite slow, so we lose out on a lot of things. So the intent is to be able to spread as much as we can, to be able to talk to as many companies as we can, and to do that, we had to spread out. I had people at the OTC in Houston. The vice president for administration was there trying to talk to as many companies as he could do. I was in the UK at the African Energy Summit, also doing the same. Riggs was in France, also trying to sell the country and sell the base into as many companies as he can. And a lot of these things now, I can say, is yielding a lot of good benefit for us, because the interest is everywhere. Yeah, and we've been able to sell the country as best as we can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pewee have done a great job in providing cover, so we will We will
I
respect
mean,
that.
you provide cover for me. Yourself been providing cover for me. You
So
provide cover for me.
Yeah, man.
we respect that. And I must admit you did an excellent job. Of course, it indicates that you know what you're doing there, and we are proud of you considering that you represent our own generation.
Mhm.
And so I will keep some of those questions, hopefully, when you come back to explain your 8 points, and then we'll ask those ones. But my parting question to you will be that you kindly
Mhm.
simplify the difference between, because you mentioned those words, and we
Mhm.
want our people to get, we wanted to get in their head if that would be the last thing. You mentioned words like exploration, discovery, digging of the well, and finding oil, and Liberia has not been able to find oil. Please explain each of those phases again, because at some point you say
Mm.
we are drilling the well, and then at some point you say we
Okay,
haven't found any
so
oil. So
so
just
we'll start. Yeah, so we'll start with upstream. You see how sometimes the next time we come here, we'll speak some dialects too, so people can understand. So
my
upstream is
prayer
four
Zango to
phases.
speak the dollar. He resembled the dollar as Zango bring. He ain't gonna speak the dollar.
I can speak dialect better than that man. Don't even mind Sanko. So upstream, we have exploration, and in simple terms, we're exploring for something. You know what that means? You're looking for it. You're trying to find it. So doing exploration, that's what we do. There's two kinds of drilling. We have exploratory drilling. That's the drilling that you're trying to find. And then when you find, then you do appraiser drilling. That means I've found it. I'm trying to appraise it. I'm trying to see how much is there. When you've determined what is there, the quantity that's there, and again, I will explain commercially viable. If Chief was in Maryland and Chief said, Fabian, come to me tonight for $100, I would say, damn it, but Chief, $100, the cost of going to Maryland and coming back, $100 will be it will be gone. But when he said come for 5,000, maybe I'll borrow Sylvester car tonight and I'm on my way, to Maryland. So when you have had a discovery and doing exploration drilling, then you want to appraise that well to see, what is there. When you determine that it's commercially viable, that means it makes sense, to be able to develop the well, and then you start development. That is now you're planning on how you take the oil out of the ground, which can take between 3 to 5 years, sometimes 7 years, just to develop the well to start producing, sometimes up to 7 years. So these are not easy things. You have to build, sometimes you have to build a whole platform. Sometimes you have to, like now, a lot of companies use FPSO. It's a ship that just come in, and then you just pump the gas or fuel into it and then take it away to the refinery. So you do that development, you prepare to be able to produce the well, and then you move to production. That's when you're actually pulling it out of the ground now, and sending it to the refinery. And you'll be surprised all the different things that come from crude oil, not just gas and fuel and jet fuel and the rest. All kinds of things. Bitumen also, what would you use for roads, also come from crude oil. Different things that in plastic come from crude oil. There's a lot of things that come from crude oil. So that's the upstream process.
Mr. Lai,
Yes.
as we do your parting comments, I want you to please answer this last question, and you can answer it, and then you do your closing comments. What is your vision for Nukar, and how do you see the company transforming Liberia's energy?
So, in simple terms, we want to be an integrated oil and gas company. That means we want to do upstream, that I just explained, exploration, discovery, production. We want to do midstream. We want to get into transportation. That way, you can ensure that there's oil and gas product all across the country. And then we want to do downstream. That means we want to practically be able to put gas into your car and fuel into your generator. And one area that we think has high potential is LPG, which is the cooking gas that you use for the stove. So currently, when you look at the country, a lot of the cooking gas that come in canisters. We want to move to a phase where, you have cooking gas, you have a whole tank of, cooking gas where instead of importing cooking gas in canisters, you have a storage tank, for LPG. So that's what we want to do in summary as an oil and gas, as an integrated, oil and gas company. And to do that, there's different activities. One is first we want to farm oil. And to farm oil, we want to increase our data. So currently we have seismic data, 2Ds and 3Ds, but we also want to add value to those data. And there's something called multi-beam and SIP hunting surveys. That's one area we're focusing on, trying to add value to our data. I mean, it's a technical word. SIP means there's leakage. So we're trying to find all the different small oil leaks. And then multi-beam is light. So seismic is, you acquire seismic using sound. This one, we want to use light, to be able to acquire the data, which hopefully we can explain to Liberian people another time. And then we're also trying to create different partnerships with countries across the sub-region. Nigeria is a big place we're looking at creating partnership with, like Nigeria on different government-to-government arrangement. Angola is another country we're also looking to create partnership with on a government-to-government arrangement. Morocco is one, Ghana is another one. So we're engaging all these different companies, but in different ways. Some of the discussions we can disclose it is still very confidential. But we're working on different fronts, trying to engage these countries to assist us in different ways. The show base, we'll talk about it, what it will do for Liberia and for the oil company. And what I didn't mention is that in the past, a lot of the services that these companies were provided came from other countries. So, and I'll give it an example. If, for example, you were bringing fresh water from Ghana to the offshore drilling companies here, the cost will be high to the company. But eventually, when there's a discovery, that cost becomes cost of the country because the oil company will recover those costs. So what this show base will do for the country, it won't just create jobs and opportunity. It will lower costs for the oil companies and indirectly a lower cost for the country. And then we also, we want to go into downstream. Hopefully, we can do some very signature, nice filling stations, where you can come in and see the national oil company. But we want to differentiate from, the current gas stations or filling stations that we have in the country. We want to have sub-offices for government ministries and agencies at those stations. So, for example, we want to have a small LRA booth where you can easily go and pay your taxes. We want to have a small business registry office in the station where you can go and register your business. We want to have a small office for transport where you can go into your vehicle registration, insurance, and other things. So instead of just having a filling station where you go and get fuel and then you change your oil and the rest, and then you go in the grocery store and shopping, we want to have small government offices where they can provide those expedited services that people would need. And then executive allocation is
that like a short-term goal or something long-term?
Fortunately for us, we're close to doing that. That's long-term. These are the things we're looking at within the next 5 years. Okay. But we have to kickstart them now. Yeah, we have designs. We look at different ways we'll raise funding, and then we're taking it into different phases. But the way we're pushing them, we all scatter on them. We take it all at the same time, but we know we can achieve all. There's some of them will take a while. But for example, filling stations, we've done the designs, we have the concept, we have the idea, we have the cost. Is now finding the money, is now getting the right place, the right location, and then starting to implement some of these. But we are a group, that's that's on a run. The president would say, until what's chasing you stop chasing you, you have to continue to run. So we are a team on the run. We are a team on the move, and we will not rest until we achieve all what we have set to achieve. And that's why we want to focus. We just don't want to be everywhere. We want to focus on these things that we want to do and do them. We don't want to be distracted by other things that will come that we think we can do. No, these are the things we want to do. Let's do them. Let's focus and do them.
And that's the voice of Fabian Michael La, the acting president and CEO of NUCAL. Mr. La, if you are before me for confirmation hearing, I would not hesitate to vote for you. I'm telling you.
This is Sylvester would just vote for me. Why are you hearing me?
Because something, when I'm getting positive feedbacks from people who are even critical of the government, but they are praising you. And honestly, that like Siddiqui said and other people said, coming on a platform like this, people say, oh no, because they feel that you get trouble. But honestly, you calm, you relax. The panelists are very cordial, respectful, and they are engaging you because you're answering the questions and you be very transparent, honest. So we want to appreciate you. And like you said, we look forward to you coming back again. But I think if this trend continues, we believe that NUCAL is on the track now to finally ensure that Liberians that we get, instead of the same curse, we get a blessing from this whole oil issue with NUCAL. So I want to say thank you so much. We appreciate you. Continue the good work in your team, and I believe that they are the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm very positive with that. Thank you, Mr. Salah.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a blessed weekend. Sarah, Sylvester, I know.
Thank you so much for coming. We really enjoyed the interaction.
Thank you so much for having me. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Fabian. Thank you.
Well, guys, that's it. I know, I'm home. I'm far from home, so I can't be.
You gotta go on your thing, right?
No, we're finished.
Oh, you're finished? Oh, okay.
Finished already.
Oh, wow. So when you're gonna play on the show?
Oh, on live.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
On live.
On the page, on live. Yeah.
I can go back and watch it, right?
Yeah, you can watch it. Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Wow.
So what you had? So you got? Okay, you got. Let me show my movies. I'm talking to me. You're promoting the international Saudi platform.
Man.
What was it? Was. No, you're kidding, man.
Oh, my man. Senator just say he got to respond to you, but you come on the show because I think you're not happy with how you.
Hey, man, you breaking? You said Senator Joseph say what?
I think he said you need to respond to, but he said Monday next week he'll be on the show.
I thought he said Sir Joseph will come on the show.
He says
no, he'll be in the States. But
he says Sir Joseph say what?
I mean, I think something you said. I don't think you're happy with that.
Pewee, can you hear him?
Come on, Pewee driving. He won't be talking on the show.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Okay, Pewee, I'll call and tell you.
Hello, you can hear me?
I'll call and tell you that one.
No, you hear me now? Is it? What you say, Joseph say?
I'll call you.
He said Senator Dillon, not Joseph. Dillon.
Joseph.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Sir Joseph.
Okay, call me because I'm not getting you.
Yeah, but tomorrow is Dr. Peabody's daughter's Hendriel's graduation cookout. Will be in Ben Salem. Chairman Sanvee also be there, and I think P will be there too.
Okay.
The senator will also be there, I believe, and we'll sure to have a nice time tomorrow then celebrate the young lady. And Sarah, I know your Robert G conversion started today, right?
Yeah.
But thank you for even coming because you
but send me the address. Maybe I can speak that.
I definitely will send you. Yeah. So I'll look for. And then also, I want to announce that our colleagues they arrived in Minnesota. I know Gaiman just texted me that they finally landed. The CMC. Gaiman just texted me that they have landed, and he's saying
that's great. That's great.
We receive a rousing welcome in Minnesota. So, we the CMC a good weekend in Minnesota. We look forward to hearing from them. And let us, everybody go enjoy the weekend, man. They have fun.
All right. Yeah, have a good one.
Someone starts tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, the first day of summer, right?
I think so.
Yeah, the 21st.
All right.
Okay, so I thought you earlier.
Okay.
Someone start today. Today. It started today.
21st. Okay, guys.
Oh, okay.
Bye. Kehleboe Gongloe, Darius Greenfield, Martin Williams, Lucini Kamara, Nora Host. Yo, bye-bye. Have a good weekend. Abu Kamara, Fix Electronics, Abraham Boga, Catherine Gibson, Clone Destiny, Exaton, Ruth Roberts, Bangba. Long, okay, everybody, bye-bye.